Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry that some of you had to wait so long so that you could get the best seat in the house, but that's okay. I want to compliment the entire bunch of you because you sounded like for the last hour you were in here like a bunch of chickens a-cackling, so you must have been having something good to talk about, and I appreciate that. We'd like to welcome you to the Farm Bureau Meet the Candidate event tonight. We're doing a few things a little bit differently tonight than we normally do. First off, thank you for coming. It shows that you're interested in hearing from folks in our county and other places. But one of the things that we're doing a little bit differently is this year we have invited the entire slate, frankly, of state Senate candidates to be here. Now, obviously, many of them were not able to come here for various reasons, but we do have some representatives here, and they're going to be speaking to you for a limited amount of time at the beginning of the event. Then they're going to go out and set out at a table out there. So if you have anything that you'd like to speak with them about specifically, about the things that they talk about while they're up here introducing themselves, feel free to walk out there at a break or what have you and speak with them. They would love to talk with you. Now, a few little housekeeping details. First off, we want to thank Show Me Times and YHC TV for helping us out, getting the word out this year. We appreciate that greatly. Again, we want to thank all the different candidates for the various races, either within the county or without, that are here tonight. Now, the format that we're going to use tonight is pretty simple. Our state Senate candidates, we're going to allow them to speak for about a minute and a half. Basically, they're going to introduce themselves and tell you what they're really interested in. And if you're really interested in that, I expect you to go talk to them. When we get into our county races, which is what this event is really designed to showcase, what we're going to be doing there is basically, as we get to each particular office, I will invite all of the candidates forward. We'll seat you up here at the table and then bring you forward one at a time to speak, introduce yourself. Then we're going to give you time to answer some questions from the audience. We have a microphone that we'll be passing around to audience members so that we can hear what your questions are. And then we'll give you time to sum up. Now, the time limits, and this is pretty important, the time limits are 3 minutes for introductions. 5 minutes for introductions? Okay. 5 minutes for introductions, and then 5 minutes for question and answers, and 3 minutes. See, I knew there was a 3 in there somewhere. 3 minutes to sum up at the end. All right? 5 minutes for your introduction, 5 minutes for questions, 3 minutes to sum up at the end. All right? And we'd ask that everybody please be very cognizant of that and hold to those times. If you have questions for people, please make sure that when the question and answer session starts that you stand up and let us know for sure so we can get you the mic as quickly as we can. We don't want to waste a lot of time because somebody else may have a question. All right? Everybody clear as mud on that? Good deal. At this time, I'd like to invite all the folks that are running for the Republican nomination for state senator, U.S. senator, excuse me, to come forward. Now, not all of the, you guys come on up here and just have a seat up here if you'd like. Not all of the people that are running are always able to be at every event. Some folks have sent a proxy. In this case, we do have one proxy that's going to talk to you for just a little while. But we'd really like to thank all of you guys for coming. Some of you drove a long way to get here, and I realize that. And I appreciate the fact that you took time out of your day to come to the Boot Hill, Missouri. And I hope that you liked what you saw. So, with no further ado, let's get started tonight. First one on the line, as we go down the list, is Vicki Hartzler. So, Mr. Bean, if you would like to speak, come right ahead.
How are y'all doing? And as some of y'all know, Congresswoman Hartzler's one of her big issues is transgenders in sports. So let me just start off by saying I do not identify as Vicki Hartzler this evening, even though I'm here to represent her. I'm Barry Bean. I am from the Farm Bureau State Board of Directors, and I'm here because Missouri Farm Bureau has gathered delegates from all around the state. We've interviewed Vicki Hartzler, we've interviewed the other candidates, we've given every candidate an opportunity to speak to us, and we've endorsed Vicki Hartzler. And the reason that we endorsed Vicki Hartzler is for a couple of reasons. Number one, she has served in the United States Congress and has been a leader in the Agricultural Committee. She's also serves on the Armed Forces Committee, and she has been a long, long friend of Farm Bureau of Agriculture and Small Business. Vicki Hartzler was raised on a farm in Archie, Missouri. She and her husband still operate that farm. They operate an implement dealership. She's very active in her faith. She's a very, very strong Christian leader, both in her area of Missouri and in the United States Congress. And she's also been endorsed not just by us, but also by Josh Hawley. Some of y'all may have seen, I managed to set my notes down here. She's been endorsed by Josh Hawley, by Kit Bond. She has an A+ rating from the NRA, and I am getting a signal and my phone is making noise. I would love to tell y'all more about Vicki Hartzler. I will tell you that you can go to vickihartzler.com, or you can go to MOFB, that stands for Missouri Farm Bureau.com, and find out an awful lot more about why it is that we endorsed Vicki Hartzler. She's one of ours, she's one of y'all, she represents you, has done a great job in the House, and I'm certain that she will do a great job in the Senate. I'd love to visit with any of y'all after this. Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Hartford Tunnel. He'd like to talk to you about his candidacy. This is just big people being in the wrong place.
There's on my website. I'm Professor Tunnel out of the Joplin-Carthage area, and I'm here to tell you about how to protect your elections in the future, and especially this one in 2022. I've been a consultant for a lot of Fortune 500 companies trying to analyze computer problems. In Missouri, my background is I'm a grandson of Daniel Boone out of Susanna Boone, ended up in Jasper County area, and then across into Miami, Oklahoma, where they had a farm, and then I ended up in Texas, and then back to teach in Missouri for 33 years at the university. Your biggest problem nowadays is that you're running third-party software to do your elections, which is foolishness. Third-party software, you don't know who wrote it, you don't know what they wrote, you don't know when these states get their stuff in machine language, they don't know what they've got. So I have done this a lot of times. I'll watch for symptoms in 2020 to see if I could see the problem. I did see it, and I came up with a solution. I was able to come up with a solution. The solutions I got on a piece of paper, but it basically tells you what you better do in 2022. Or if I were on the other side, what I would do is I would take, if you do nothing, I'd take both houses. Okay, if I have the software, I can do what I want. And somebody's got their hands on the software. I'd take both houses. And then after that, I'd be in the position to put your representatives out there. I would be the ones choosing them. I would choose those who would drive up your debt. Every mathematician knows I'm a mathematician, as well as a computer science kinds of guy. Everybody knows you drive that debt up, there's going to be some point where you've gone too far, and your inflation is going to tear you apart like it's done in Venezuela, okay? And so we better start controlling our own software. The way you do that is you set up an agency consisting of Democrats and Republicans, and the agency would put out the software. It would be totally transparent to the Congress. They know who wrote the software. They can send a representative to look at it. They'll know that everything's hunky-dory. They can audit anytime they want. Total transparency. You have zero transparency today, okay? The next thing I do, try to do for you all is set up an ombudsman relationship there where if you're having trouble with a business or with an agency, you have someone to contact because you all don't have the time and the money to mess with those kind of things, which I've had to do several times. So you want to do that. So my suggestion is to go get one of those letters that I've written, send them out. If they don't do that, I'm predicting they'll take both houses because I know how this software works. I'd be the only Republican senator that understands computer information systems, the only one of them. Okay, the others, your journalists don't know, the ones that are telling you things, they don't know, judges don't understand it, and also the politicians don't understand it. So you're just like a sucker, okay? So I've written a letter that would tell them how to handle it. They do it, they get it, they do it, they're gonna get a good count. If they don't do that, they will not get a good count. Okay, thank you.
Finally have Mr. Sir, I'm sorry, but I cannot pronounce your last name.
Breyfogle.
Mr. Russell Breyfogle. He'd like to talk to you.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for being here. I'm third from the bottom in the Senate race. There are 21 of us. I'm an 86-year-old widower, father of 3, grandfather of 7, a veteran, former Peace Corps volunteer, retired social worker from Fulton State Hospital, and also I've been a donor of blood, 17 gallons worth. I rejoined the Republican Party to support Liz Cheney in her quest for the truth in the January 6th committee. Truth leads to trust, and trust strengthens our democracy. I support women's right to choose, even though I have 2 adopted daughters. I support law enforcement's recommendation for stronger gun safety. I believe in science, and I've been boosted twice for COVID. And also, we're on war footing, and I think we need to find new revenues to support our friends in the Ukraine. Thank you very much.
This time we have one proxy for a Senate candidate for the Democrat Party who would like to speak to us. He is going to speak on behalf of Carla Coffey, Wright. Oh, she's here? Sorry. That's all right. She gets to talk to you herself.
Thank you. How are you?
I'll do it.
I'm great. Thank you. Wow. Hello, family. My name is Carla Coffey Wright. I believe in people over party, first of all. Just whatever makes sense. That's what we need. I don't care if you're Republican or a Democrat. We need what makes sense. There's a lot of Republicans as well as Democrats that feel that we need sensible gun law. Well, I carry 2 guns, so I ain't got a problem with people carrying a gun. But I do have a problem with an 18-year-old going to get assault weapons. We're not a war family. 18, you can't even buy a beer, but you go buy 2 assault weapons and on the same day and do what you do, well, we know what happened. My degree is in early child care education. I worked hard taking care of my mom, my grandma, so I fight hard for seniors. I really believe in seniors, that's my thing. Also, I fight hard for free Medicare for all and free college for all. We can send $58 billion to Ukraine. What about taking care of home right here? So I know you all are doing, most of you doing pretty good with your farming, but I think your kids need to go to college for free. Other countries do it, and why not America? I also think free medical care for everyone. I don't think that it should be based on your income, your race, or anything else. I think that we're all in the same boat, or we may not all be in the same boat, I take that back, but we all headed up the same creek, okay? We may be in different boats. I'm in yachts and ships and whatever you rolling in. Somebody got a canoe. But family, we going up the same creek, okay? So this war is rich versus poor. It's not a black and white thing. I got white people in my family. They call me Coffee because I'm the darkest one, but that's okay. I ain't mad, all right? But let me tell you something. I love you. My name is Carla Coffey Wright. I'm on the ballot for United States Senator, and I fight for everybody. I ain't scared, family. With me, you have a dog in the race, okay? And I'm not a fool. Right on, ladies.
And again, I'll encourage you that if you'd like to speak to any of those candidates this evening, they'll be out in the foyer, and they'd love to talk with you. I know 2 or 3 of them have got some pretty hot button issues that they are really interested in. They'd like to talk to you about it. So we'll move right on in. The way I'm going to handle this is we're going to go right straight down the ballot in terms of office. So the first office that we have someone here to speak, is actually a man that's running unopposed. And he told me, he says, I really don't want to give a speech, but I'll be glad to answer any questions that anybody would have. So Mr. Morris, running unopposed for Representative District 151, he says he'll answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Gary. Of course, the answer might be I don't know, but anyway, has anyone got any questions? I left my notes at home, so I know. I'm not even going to try to remember what they've said. The governor has, he vetoed the ag bill, and the reason he said he did that, it had a 2-year sunshine clause on it, and he wanted a 6-year, which was more in keeping what some of the other bills had. The Family Rights Act or something, I'm not familiar with that, I'll be perfectly honest. He wanted that shored up a little bit more, and he had a couple of smaller objections, but anyway, that's probably one of the things we'll talk about in the veto session, which is September the 14th, I believe. Y'all are awful easy to please.
I think they must think you're doing a pretty good job.
Well, anyway, if there's ever anything our office can do for you, get a hold of my office. Beth doesn't, she works from home part of the time, but you've got that number. My cell number is 820-7502, or if you see me around, we'll see if we can get you some help. And I appreciate the opportunity, and I appreciate being able to serve you all. Thank you.
Judge Gerald, are you here? Also running unopposed, but he said he would like to say a word or two. That's fine.
Well, I just wanted to come and show my appreciation for Stoddard County and the people in Stoddard County. When I was appointed several years back and then ran unopposed my first time, I was so grateful that the people trusted me to take that position, and I'll be glad to stay in there as long as you'll have me. In my courtroom, everybody comes and they are all equal in my eyes, and so I'll be fair and honest with everybody anytime they're in my courtroom. As some people know, we're not allowed to campaign when we don't have opponents. So again, I'm just here to show my appreciation for all the good folks in Stoddard County and all my family and everybody who's supported me over the years. And thank you, Farm Bureau, for having us here tonight. So I appreciate it. Thank you much.
Had to find the other half of my paper. So at this time, we're going to move into the presiding commissioner's race. If I could get Ronnie Ossoff and Greg Mathis to come on up here. We're going to put you guys, and this is for everybody else to know as well, each race we're going to bring the candidates up here because I want you folks to look them in the eye. All right? And since this particular race, there is no incumbent on it, we're going to go in order as their name is printed on the ballot. So, Mr. Ossoff, you get to go first.
Thank you, Gary. My name's Ronnie Ossoff. I am a Stoddard County resident. Well, I was born and raised in Stoddard County. I want to thank the Farm Bureau for allowing us to speak tonight. I'm also a 1976 graduate at Exeter High School. I actually grew up in a farm background. I've said this before. My grandparents farmed on both sides, and I grew up, in Stoddard County driving a tractor. Stoddard County is a large agricultural area. I mean, it's probably, I don't know, 60% agricultural based, other than that. So I actually, when I wasn't able to really, get into the farming deal, I went to work for the implement dealerships, worked for them. I worked for the John Deere dealership, then I worked for Averson Implement, Dallas Chalmers dealership from 78 to 92, and in 1992, my family and we were able to acquire the Napa Auto Parts store here in Dexter. We had that for 27 years. I retired and sold that, retired in 2019. One of the things about Stoddard County, as far as, it kind of makes it a little bit different. There's 22 counties in the state of Missouri that have a township system. Stoddard County's one, Dunklin County's one, in the southeast Missouri, Texas County, the majority of them are in the northwest part of the state. So it makes it kind of different where you have individual, basically small individual committees or boards that run each township. So they kind of take care of the roads and bridges and everything like that too. So that, that kind of takes, like I can remember when we paid our taxes at townships. You went to the township you were in, you paid your personal property tax. So things have changed now where the county actually takes care of the majority of that, but the boards still take care of their bridges and ditches and stuff like that. One thing about, I do have a business background. I mean, I've been in business for, I guess I started in a management position in 1979. That's how long I've been in. I have been in some kind of management position or ownership of a business since then. I've never done anything else. Right now, I'm actually president of the Stoddard County Common Sewer District here in Dexter. I've been doing that for, it'll be 10 years, thanks to him. He put me on the board in 2012. So I've been doing that. I've been involved in that for the last, I'd be president of the board for 10 years. So I've done that for a long time too. So that kind of gives me some background as far as the government entity and dealing with different aspects, like whether it's rural development, Department of Natural Resources, that's part of it. And like I say, as far as doing business, I mean, I've always kind of, I've always enjoyed that. Being the presiding commissioner, I am running presiding commissioner, but being the presiding commissioner, basically what I've seen is it's another business. It's like anything else, it's just a business. It's like being on the sewer district, and I've always went to that, and I tell people it's just another business. You deal with the same things, different aspects, but still a business. So basically, like I said, if I'd said this or not, 114 counties, talking about townships, 114 counties, 22 counties in Missouri actually have townships, only 22 counties. But basically, that's basically all I've got to say. I mean, that's pretty much it. Everybody got any questions? See if I can answer. Anybody?
Ronnie, I have a question.
Sure.
I kind of noticed you and your family. If you're not elected in this here position here, would you want to change to the other party or?
No, I'm a Republican. I'm not going to change the party. I just, I don't have anything wrong. Nothing against it.
You've got an elephant on your side.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I am, but it's, and like I said, hey, don't get me wrong. I grew up on my grandparents' side. I'll put it like this. I've got, on my grandpa Shelton, if he knew I was running Republican, he was rolling over in his grave. That's just how, but but you got to remember back in them times, those people went through the Depression, things changed. So, no, I just feel like the Republican party is just the way to be. I just feel like they're trying to do the right thing, trying to make things work for the working person, working people, not really, cater to the small interest groups, the groups that, the woke people. I never did know what woke is. I still don't understand what woke means. I really have not, I'm not into this woke thing, so I have no idea. But anything else?
Any further questions? we'll let you sum up after Greg gets done.
Okay.
So that give you a chance to get a little breather. Ronnie.
Contrary to popular belief, not all candidates for public office dislike their opponents. Ronnie and I have known each other for over 50 years. The Ossoff family, they've been a positive force for Stoddard County for many years. My name's Greg Mathis, and I'm running for Stoddard County Presiding Commissioner. I've held the post 4 terms in the past for 16 years. I went to work at what was Rainey Funeral Home back in 1978, and my family purchased it in 1996 and been there ever since, getting ready to start my 45th year. The main job of the Stoddard County Commission is finances, it's money. Stoddard County pays its bills with 4 sales tax that have been voter approved. But what happens if people quit spending money and the sales tax is not there? And why would they quit spending? Currently we have what, 9% inflation last month? Our store shelves are still not being stocked, have high gas prices, and the war in Ukraine. If people decide to stop spending money, sales tax revenue is going to go down, and the fixed cost of the county still has to be paid. So when I'm elected, we'll start with the 2023 budget, and at that point, we'll also be looking ahead to the 2024, the 2025, and 2026 budget. We want to make sure that we get any long-term debt paid off, make sure that we're not paying any unnecessary interest. Let's talk about law enforcement. We have no idea what it's going to cost to run and maintain the new sheriff's office, new sheriff jail that we're building. It's going to take 1 to 2 years to get a handle and a grip on that. It's built, I believe, for 125 inmates. Is that right, Carl? 150? In a year's time, we'll have 250 people in there. Carl and his staff will be putting mattresses back down on the floor. If you build it, they will come. This is the Commission's responsibility to make sure that Sheriff Hefner and his staff run that jail in an efficient manner, and they have the resources and manpower to run it in a safe manner for the people of Stoddard County and what we expect. You know, if things start getting bad financially, one of the things we are going to be looking at, and it goes back to law enforcement again, people that sleep all day come out at night. And once they do, they're going to start stealing. We're going to make sure we have the manpower to help Sheriff Hefner and his staff go out and patrol and do what needs to be done, especially in our rural areas. We want to make sure that the Sheriff's Office has the boots on the ground in order to run their office in an efficient manner. The agriculture community, we want to make sure that we still have the ability to replace our deficient bridges. We want to make sure our agriculture community has the infrastructure to move their product from the field to market. Also, with the new I-57 corridor coming up, we want to make sure that our farmers have the understanding of what's expected from them if they have property on Highway 60 or the new I-57 corridor, if they've got property on both sides, moving equipment from one field to the next. I've talked to several farmers, and they say that is going to be a concern of theirs coming up. When we also talk about law enforcement, we talk about our juvenile services, our juvenile offices. They are a force within our public schools in Stoddard County. You have a disrupted child in the school system, our juvenile office goes out. They remove that child, put them in the alternative school, so the people there, our kids, our grandkids who want to learn, have the opportunity to do so in a safe environment. Our juvenile office also goes out on the domestic assault cases, sexual assault cases of children. Folks, you don't think it happens in Stoddard County? You're wrong, it does. And while the Office of Juvenile Office is a state-ran office, Stoddard County still has some skin in the game, and we want to make sure that they have the resources to do what they need to do. Healthcare. Stoddard County entered into a healthcare contract in 2015 I was a part of. and we took on partially self-funding of that, our health care. And I talked to our broker the other day, and he said over the past 7 years, he feels that we've saved over $1.5 million in health care costs. You making a walk for me?
I'm just coming up here to tell you that it's time to ask for some questions. Anybody have any questions, Mr. Mathis?
Ethelene, you got a question? I told you I'd give you the first shot.
That's what you want me to ask. Why did you change from Democrat to Republican to run on the position?
What'd she say?
What'd you change?
And I'm not the only one afraid that wants to know that.
Oh, okay, well, that certainly surprises me, Ethelene. I didn't think you'd ask that. Told you I'd give you the first shot. Folks, it's no secret. I've been elected 2 times as coroner as a Democrat. I've been elected 4 times as Stoddard County Presiding Commissioner, running as a Democrat in a county that's 80% Republican. Folks, look past the Democrat-Republican stigma. I took the last 4 years off, and what I found is that I don't want to defund police and law enforcement. Stoddard County supports financially our law enforcement community. Stoddard County does not turn its back on those who have Christian faith and try to discriminate them against their belief. I don't believe that government has the right to come in and take your guns. Stoddard Countyans like their guns. And I don't believe that that's something that will ever be going away within our county, whether it's regulated by our government or not. I don't approve of the annex of our current Speaker of the House in the United States House of Representatives. I don't believe I can sit down and eat Thanksgiving dinner. So folks, you can decide whether it's a big deal that I went from Democrat to Republican. I'm telling you why I did. Of course, we also, and I'm going to throw it out there, Sheriff Hefner was elected the first time as a Democrat. He became a Republican. Sheriff Hefner doesn't see Democrat. Sheriff Hefner doesn't see Republican. He sees Stoddard County people. Next question.
Anybody else have a question? Mr. Mathis? All right.
In closing, I do have 16 years of responsible financial management of your taxpayers' dollars. I take it seriously. I don't have any what I call hobbies. I enjoyed the work of being presiding commissioner and a commissioner, working within the government setting and helping use our money in a productive manner. I enjoy seeing the fruits of our labor when we help law enforcement. I enjoy seeing the fruits of our labor when we help a farmer get a new bridge. I get excited about county government. I get excited about government. And it's something that I enjoy, and I would appreciate your vote and support come August 2nd for Stoddard County Presiding Commissioner. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree, Greg. I agree. I mean, you're right. I mean, dealing with my expertise on, like he's talking about, like the government issues about the funding and stuff, being on the Sewer District Board, which we started, I'm telling you right now, it wasn't, and he knows as well as I do, this was not, it wasn't a good deal. It was, the problem was we were not really underfunded, but, the rates were too low, and, I mean, we struggled and everything, but we turned it around, and just like you're talking about, the Sheriff's Department and everything. That's the way I am. I want to make sure there's enough money in the budget to take care of the Sheriff's Department especially. I talked to Carl about some things about them now doing their own maintenance work on their vehicles and stuff, which I find that's how I am. I agree 100% with that. As far as budget, I work under a budget with the Sewer District. I mean, we have to have a budget. matter of fact, I have to answer to rural development, and I have to answer to the state of Missouri on everything. We have an audit every year, so we have to make sure our audits are clean. My audits have always been clean at the sewer district. I mean, that's where, and that's the way I like it. I do not like to have people say, well, you know, you screwed up, or you done this, or something like that. We want to make sure, you know, and like I said, the funding and stuff, going into recession, I think that's what he's, you know, basically the country going into recession where there's not enough tax, you know, tax money, tax base and stuff to pay the bills and stuff. And it'll happen. I mean, it's going to happen. I mean, I don't know if there's, sometimes I don't think there's anything you can do about it, but it always seems to come back. We always seem to come back and we grow. It's just a cycle. As long as I've been around, as long as I was in business, I've done the same thing. We see some years that are not good, then they would actually, or maybe the middle of the year. We'd have bad middle of the year, and it'd come back around. You know, we'd make it up. We always kind of made it up, and we always come out of it real good. And that's like I said, I agree. I mean, you got to fund a county government. That's part of the business. You got to be funded. Got to have the money. The law enforcement's got to have the money. All the departments have to have financial stability to function. If you don't have that, next thing you know, you're in trouble because you ain't got no money to pay your employees or fix stuff. You know, I've seen some things up there that need to be fixed. There's a few things up there at the county that really, really need to be fixed, need to be worked on. I don't agree with, I'll put it like this, anything that I put my name on, I want to know what's going on. If they're building a new bridge out here, through MoDOT or whoever putting the bridge in, because I can remember like Greg can, that whenever, even in Liberty Township, Morris Hampton built the majority of the bridges out there. So anything that I put my name on, I want to know what's going on. The same with the sewer district. When we just got through with the $500,000 project, I knew exactly what was going on. I knew where the money was going. One thing, I had to sign all the checks too. So, you know, yeah, that's the main thing. So being that, I appreciate everybody being here and appreciate your vote in 2 weeks. Thank you very much.
Okay, it's time to move on down to the county clerk's race. So if I can get the two candidates for county clerk to come on up. One thing I do want to stress and make sure of so that you understand, because I did not specify this a while ago. We're going to give you 5 minutes to introduce yourself and 5 minutes to answer questions. Then I'd like you to sit down and let your opponent take that 5 minutes of question and introduction and questions. Then we'll bring you up one at a time to sum up. All right? So, since Mr. Weeks over here is the incumbent, we're going to ask that you go first.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, I think I know quite a few people here in this room. My name is Dina Pennington. I've lived in Stoddard County all my life. I'm a 1988 graduate of Dexter High School. I see several of my classmates here tonight that there's a couple of them I haven't seen in a while. So, my mom and dad is Jerry and Carla Moore of Bloomfield. I have 2 children. My son Ethan, he is a member of the Army National Guard. He graduated Bloomfield in 2019. He currently works here in Dexter, and my daughter just graduated Bloomfield this year, and she will be pursuing a degree in nursing at Three Rivers this fall. I've got 30 plus years working with the public. It seems like I've always worked with the public. I enjoy working with the public. I work for FedEx and Frito-Lay. I'm a people person, and I like to get out there and meet with the public. I've been knocking doors. A lot of the doors that I've been knocking, people are, I'm asking people what they want, what they need, and they're wanting transparency in the office. And if I'm elected, I will have an open door. It will be transparent. The citizens of Stoddard County will be able to see what goes on in the county. There won't be anything hidden. I'll have a how can I help you attitude. I think that's important for when you come in the office to how can I help you? And you're not having to beg for anything or so forth. I'll follow the statutes that's set forth from the state of Missouri, if elected. The office does have statutes that we have to follow, and I am ready to serve the citizens of Stoddard County. And that's it, if anybody has any questions.
Hi, are you saying that the office now is not transparent?
No, I don't believe it is.
Can you give any type of explanation as to how it is not?
Well, the clerk's office, there should be somebody in the clerk's office taking minutes of the commissioners' meeting, so you as a citizen can go into the clerk's office and say, what happened in this meeting, what happened in that meeting, and they should be able to pull it up. And I think the public has the right to know what's going on. Any more questions?
Ms. Pennington, it has been brought to my attention that you have filed for disability. And is this correct? And if it is, why would you be running for a public office?
No, that is not correct. Do you have any more questions? Ethelene, I'm sorry.
No, I just...
Anybody else?
With your years of experience in the public, how will that benefit your office, your position in office?
Oh, okay. Well, FedEx working with the public, I had my own route. Ran the same route for pretty much the whole 17 years I was at FedEx. Frito-Lay, it was my own route. I went to different stores. Each stores had budgets that I had to go by. You know, for the holiday, they may say, I've got this X amount of dollars to spend. What can you do for me? And I set forth and sat down with them and made a budget. So I've got experience in the budget making and the decision making.
Ms. Pennington, on your sign, you don't have whether you're a Democrat or Republican, and I've got several of my widow ladies saying, what is she? Is she a Republican or a Democrat? Her mother was a Democrat.
I'm a Republican.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Yeah. After the question answered, you sit back down. Okay.
I want to thank the Farm Bureau for hosting this tonight. I want to thank my family, my biggest cheerleaders. They're here, some of them are here tonight. I am Cecil Weeks. I'm currently your Stoddard County Clerk. I am running for re-election. When I was thinking about what am I going to talk to you about, I think you need to know a little bit about the responsibilities of the job so you'll know a little bit where I'm coming from. Some of the responsibilities of the job is like right now we're doing the certification of the tax assessment valuations for all the entities. And that's going to be like $579 million. We deal with a lot of dollars, is what we deal with, and we're responsible for a lot of dollars. We're responsible for a lot of school funding that we split up several times a year. Budgets is another part. As Mr. Mathis pointed out a while ago, the commissioners are in charge of the finances, but in Class 3 counties, your county clerk is your budget officer. Why am I telling you this? Because I come to this office with over 41 years of being in business. I sold my business in 2018 and was looking for something else to do that had something in line with my background. Well, my background, it was business. It's also government. When living in Malden, I've served as mayor, councilman, president of the utility board, and other boards which deal with multi-million-dollar budgets. So I have the background for the things that we do in this office. Now, before I go any further, I want to go back to my family. Myra and I have been married now 22 years. A couple of our kids are here now. Between us, we have 5. We have 14 grandchildren, 1 great-grandson. So as you see, we have a pretty large family. Christmases are a lot of fun. I'll take any questions that you might have. I'll come back, wrap it up. Thank you.
There is one more thing I want to say. For those of y'all, my mom was the Stoddard County Treasurer Collector, Carla Moore. I do not know a person in this room that would not support their mother in whatever she done. I have never declared myself a Democrat or a Republican, but I supported my mother. Let's just say it made for interesting dinner table conversations, to say the least. But I just wanted to put that out there. I supported my mother in the 20 years she was in office, and I don't know a person that wouldn't. Thank you.
I want to talk to you a little bit about something else before I leave. The election that he was talking about earlier. As you know, the election authority for your county is your county clerk. And I take exception to the fact that he was talking about unfair elections a while ago and machines that could change votes. We just programmed the election today for this August 2nd election. We had people here, a person here from the tabulation company that did it, and we checked it. And we had a representative from the Democrat and Republican Party in the office. We run test decks through it. And Wayne, you'd say that they all checked out like they're supposed to. That morning, when the judges get there, they're gonna turn it on. It's gonna print out a 0 count. It's gonna be 0 that day. And they're gonna watch that tabulator all day. And at the end of the day, they're gonna turn it off and close it. And when they do, that prints the total, and that total can't change. Not with the systems we're using. We are not connected to the internet in any way. And then that night, there will be one precinct at random chosen. And there'll be 4 to 6 judges that will be at the office that will take that precinct and manually count it against the tabulator's totals. Make sure they match up. And Wayne can attest to this. He's been there. He's not some of those that do the counting, but he knows that there's a lot of people there that night. And our equipment, you shouldn't go to bed worried about Stoddard County's equipment or elections being changed. It's not going to be changed in Stoddard County. So anyway, I just had to say that. I was going to say it a while ago, but I wanted to save it for my closing remarks. I do want to thank you all for allowing me to serve this last 3.5 years. I am up for re-election and would like to serve another term. But I want you to do one thing for me as you go to the polls this time. We often thank our servicemen, and we should, for their service that they do for us. They do the invaluable service. They give us our freedoms. They give us our right to vote. But there's another part of that equation. It's those judges and those people that help. It takes around 75 people election days across the county for us to put this election on. And they don't do it for the money. They do it because they want to keep democracy alive. It's a long day for them. The polls open at 6 and close at 7. They're there usually at 5:30 until 7:30 or 8. So I'm going to ask you to do like you do the servicemen. When you come up to the polls and they say your identification, please, and after they give you their ballot, would you please thank them for their service, because without them, we couldn't hold these elections, and we need them desperately so we can continue having these elections. Again, I'm Cecil Weeks. I see the hook is coming. I ask for your vote August the 2nd. Thank y'all.
moving on ahead. It's time for us to focus on our circuit clerk race, so we can get the circuit clerk candidates to come forward. We have Ms. Paula Yancey and Ms. Leanne Brady. Since she's we'll ask you to come in first. Same thing as before. 5 to 5 and 3 to 3.
All right.
With us, is that not? And don't get nervous.
Okay, yeah.
I've already been told you were really.
Good evening. I'd like to start out by saying thank you to those who have shown your support throughout this campaign, ranging from things like likes and shares on Facebook, allowing me to place signs at your homes and businesses, for offering water while we are going door to door in this heat, just to name a few. It is truly appreciated. I'd like to tell you a little about myself. I'm married to Gary Brady, who is a detective at the Stoddard County Sheriff's Department. We're married, we are living in Dexter, and are members of Liberty Hill General Baptist Church. I have 2 stepchildren, Kerrigan Brady, Destiny, and her husband Jake Durham, 1 grandson, Jackson Durham, and 1 granddaughter, Delaney Durham, due to arrive in the fall. I'm currently serving as senior court clerk at the Stoddard County Justice Center, where I've worked for 10 years. I take pride in my work for the citizens, and I believe in our justice system. I have a strong work ethic and an eagerness to get the job done. I believe in treating all people with dignity and respect, regardless of their circumstances. Some of my duties include filing circuit civil and domestic relations cases, Department of Revenue cases, tax intercept, debt collection, bill of costs to the Department of Corrections, processing garnishment checks, as well as civil jury trials for local judges and judges that have been assigned to the 35th Circuit. I'm in the courtroom on all circuit civil cases as well as domestic relations cases for a total of about 15 judges last count. I work well with all judges and attorneys. My training has allowed me to interact efficiently with the public and self-represented parties, helping them to navigate our court system without giving them legal advice. The attorneys, judges, and my coworkers know they can call on me if they need assistance. In today's ever-changing world of technology in our courts, I feel it is more important than ever to stay up to date on our computer systems. I am known as our in-house tech person and am called on to assist with WebEx conferences and computer or printer issues. When I went to Paula to tell her my intentions to run for circuit clerk, I made it clear this has had nothing to do with her. I respect her and the position she holds. I am not a politician. I am not about smearing an opponent's name in hopes of gaining votes. What I am about is letting the public decide who they want to elect and living with that decision. I don't know half of Stoddard County, and I don't have a face, I don't have a name that everyone can put a face with. What I do have is the knowledge, the ability to do the job efficiently, and the desire and the drive to make it happen, one town at a time.
Any questions?
No?
I believe you got off the hook.
Okay.
Good evening. I want to thank Stoddard County Farm Bureau for hosting this event, and I want to apologize for the crackling in my throat. A funny story, I lost my voice last week and didn't know if I'd be able to give this speech, and my husband, Randy Yancey, if you know him, he quickly volunteered to give my speech, but praise the Lord, I was able to do it, and y'all will thank me too if you know him. So anyway, I'm Paula Yancey. I'm the circuit clerk of Stoddard County, and I am finishing up my 2nd term as circuit clerk. And I was born in Stoddard County at Poe Clinic, so that kind of dates me. But we lived here until I was about 5. My family then moved to Elsinore, where I grew up and went to school there. Met Randy, and we got married as high school sweethearts. In '83, we had the opportunity to come back to Stoddard County when we purchased the Sears catalog store, and which that gave us a lot of experience in teaching us how to run a business, how to manage employees, and how to work closely with the public. We've raised our 2 girls in Stoddard County. We have 8 grandchildren and 1 great-granddaughter, Stella Mae Bruce. And if you ask her name, she'll tell you, Stella Mae Bruce. So, and I'm so fortunate that they all live here close in Stoddard. After selling our business, I started a career in banking. I was hired as administrative assistant, worked up to being a mortgage loan officer, and then my last position was branch manager. Working with the bank gave me experience that afforded me financial training as well as managerial training. The circuit clerk position opened up when the previous clerk decided to retire. And after I inquired at the clerk office to see if anyone was going to take on the role, I decided to put my name in. So after 29 years of banking, I made the move, and I'm glad I did. I don't regret it at all. The office of the circuit clerk is an important job. We keep all the records of the court system, and we do it accurately and timely manner. I am fortunate to have clerks like Leanne capable and willing to do the job and take the responsibility to do it seriously. We handle all types of records, as she mentioned, family law, probate, criminal, small claims, adult abuse, and anything else that comes into our office. We have many challenges with changes in legislation, technology, and always a procedure change. But my clerks take it in stride, and I think we do a great job. Since being in office, I took action to make sure our court hearings could be held by video conferencing. And so we are able to video conference with the jails and the Department of Corrections. This was very necessary, very vital to keeping our courts going during the COVID-19 outbreak. To do the job of circuit clerk, I feel you must be honest, have integrity, and a sense of fairness. Experience in supervising people is a must. You must be able to multitask because our job is very demanding. As supervisor, you sometimes have to make difficult decisions that hurt your heart, but it's part of the supervision and requirement of the position to monitor and supervise your staff. Financial experience is necessary to handle the accounting. We do collect all filing fees, court costs, and then that is dispersed monthly to its necessary venues. The ability to handle all types of situations with the aforementioned skills is essential to keeping the office operating in a productive manner for the staff and for the public. I always encourage the clerks to be helpful in the public. We cannot practice law by giving legal advice, but I want my clerks to treat everyone that comes to our office with the same respect and kindness that they would treat a judge, any attorney, and other court personnel. So I think he's pointing to me.
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, sir.
Hold on, sir, do we just microphone so we hear you?
If you're re-elected, are you going to serve 4 years or are you going to bail out?
Oh, no. I plan on being there the full 4 years. But after 4 years, I may bail out. I'll be at the age that I might be able to.
Anybody else have a question?
Well, in closing,
Hold on.
oh, I'm sorry.
You get closer. That gives you a chance to let you talk.
Okay.
In the middle of COVID, we were working half-staff, week to week, as to maintain distance from our coworkers. In the midst of my work week alone, in my office alone, in about a 3-hour time span, 5 separate people came in to file divorces. Some of them did not have properly filed paperwork or missing pages. Some had to go get money orders for service fees. In the middle of working with each one separately, the phone would ring or someone may buzz my desk with a question. In the end, this one lady who had been the first in line was now the last in line. She was back again. Before handing me a money order, she handed me a card. I opened it and it said, "Sometimes a little kindness deserves a lot of thanks." Then she had handwritten, "Thank you so much for helping me. God bless you." I still have that card in my desk as a reminder of who I am working for, the citizens of Stoddard County, and why I do this job. If I can make your trip to the Justice Center a better one than you had anticipated, then I feel it was a job well done. I recently received an email from Judge Rob Fulton from Madison County. He had been assigned to a case in Stoddard County and was sending me a final judgment. He is due to retire in December, and this was my last case I had with him. In the email, he ended it by saying, "I will miss your smiling face and always helpful go-to attitude. He is just a judge, and I am just a clerk, and that probably doesn't mean anything to any one of you." But I read that, and it made me smile, because that is the type of clerk I strive to be every day. 8 years ago, I was asked by many to run for circuit clerk. I felt like I'd not been there long enough. I had no idea that before Sherry Disney retired, she would have taught me the things I needed to know to do the job I am seeking. Every year since, I've regretted not running. Everything I've done in my life has led me to where I am today. I am done living in the past, and I'm looking towards my future, standing here today, eager to become your next circuit clerk, and I'm asking for your vote on August 2nd. Thank you.
Yes, and again, I just want to say that's why I do appreciate all my clerks, because I think everyone in our office strives to be the kind of clerk that she is describing. I do get compliments from attorneys, from the public, and I appreciate them so much. I have served as Stoddard County Clerk with integrity and honesty in the Stoddard County for about 7+ years. And I want to thank you for your past support and ask again for your support in the upcoming election so I can continue to serve for 4 more years. Thank you.
Okay, Recorder of Deeds.
Thank you. I was hoping I wouldn't need this, but every time I get done talking, I realize there's something more I wanted to say, so you're gonna have to bear with me. I want to thank Farm Bureau for hosting this event, and my name is Candy Collier, and I am the Republican candidate for Recorder of Deeds. I will be running unopposed in the August 2nd election and unopposed in the November election. I have some of my family members here. My mom got to come tonight, and I'm so thankful for that. I have worked in the recorder's office for 30 years. I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to work under Frida Lee and Kay Asbel. She was a recorder for 28 years and has decided to retire. I like my job, and I consider it a privilege to serve the citizens of Stoddard County. I have assisted in maintaining our county's most important records, transferring real estate, subdivision plats and surveys, federal and state tax liens, military discharges, and marriage license. That's the fun part of the job, or the marriage license. I have seen a lot of changes in the office since 1991. When I started, we were filming on aperture cards and handwriting indexes. Then we started scanning documents in 2004. We are still scanning the documents, but about 2/3 of the recording is now being done online through an e-recording program. At the end of every workday, we have to balance the fees collected, and also at the end of the month, we have to balance. When we are done paying out the fees to the county and the state, we are left with a zero balance. I have done the monthly settlements, and there have never been any discrepancies in any of the monthly reports. We start the month with a zero balance, and we end the month with a zero balance. I have worked closely with Kay in all the upgrades done to the office and hope to continue advancing the office in the best way possible to benefit the citizens of Stoddard County. They're saying if it ain't broke, don't fix it. As far as changes to the office when I take over, I can't think of any changes that need to be made. The office already runs very smooth. Each person in the office is cross-trained, so everybody can do every job. So if you come in and somebody's not there, you're not going to have to wait. You can get whatever you need. And I work with two other ladies. I work with Kim Ward, and she's married to Glenn Ward. Raise your hand, Kim. She's here. And she's worked for 9 years in the recorder's office. And Taylor Clary, she's married to Matthew Clary, and she will soon have her first year in. Taylor, where are you? And both of these ladies are an asset to the office. And I and citizens of Stoddard County are very lucky to have them. I've been blessed to have a job for the past 30 years that I love. I feel I have the knowledge and the experience necessary to run the office, and I look forward to working with the other elected officials and helping every citizen of Stoddard County that comes in the recorder's office. I would like to ask for your vote of confidence and support in the upcoming election. Thank you.
Would anybody have any questions? No questions? You got to sum up, or you just want to wave it back?
Appreciate your vote, and thank you all.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to our final office that is contested this year. So if I can get the prosecuting attorney candidates to come forward. Excuse me. Didn't mean to knock you down, boys. And so, Sawyer, as the challenger, we're going to let you go first.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As a candidate and a member of the Stoddard County Farm Bureau, I want to thank you for being here tonight. I want to thank Farm Bureau. I want to thank the owners and operators of the gathering. This is always a much looked forward to event. I'm certainly excited to be here and to share with you about why I am running for prosecuting attorney of Stoddard County. And that's what I'm here for. I want to encourage all members of the audience to stay positive during the question and answer, especially when I ask my people to stay positive. I'm not here to sling mud. I'm here to talk about facts. I'm here to talk about important reasons that we need a change. Number one, Stoddard County needs a prosecutor that will back the blue. You've heard me say that in the campaign. It's really important that you have a pro-law enforcement candidate. Sheriff Carl Hefner, 5 times elected in Stoddard County, has called me the true pro-law enforcement candidate in this race. There are important reasons why, and does it not speak volumes that not only Carl, but 4 times elected, retired Stoddard County Sheriff Ralph Mauser, 30-plus years in the Highway Patrol of the Missouri State Highway Patrol Zone Sergeant Dale Moreland, the Advance police officers, the Chief of Police of the Puxico Police Department, the first ever Stoddard County victims advocate, Jerry Wayne Hampton, who has 30 years in law enforcement and worked for the current prosecutor for the last 5. I'm probably leaving somebody out, the list goes on, but they're all supporting me, and I think that says a lot. I back the blue, they know it, and that's why they're supporting me in this election. It is fundamental that the prosecuting attorney and the sheriff and the other law enforcement agencies in the county get along, work well together, and as a result of that, we're going to accomplish more justice. We're going to accomplish justice for all. Right now, there's broken communications, there's broken relationships, and we have to change that. We have to fix that, and I can be the one that does it. Number two, Stoddard County deserves and demands a full-time prosecuting attorney. You, the taxpayers, are not getting what you pay for. You're paying the current prosecutor $150,000 a year to be a prosecutor. He's the one that asked for the pay increase and the job to become full-time. Greg Mathis, he came to you. He asked for that to be changed. He was the instrument in it. Soon after, started the meat shop, a private business. I guess 150 is not enough. Running rehab facilities that are beneficial and clearly a conflict of interest. Running campaigns like he did with his investigator, Tim McCoy, against our sheriff 2 years ago. Running campaigns against other county officials. We need a full-time prosecutor, 100% committed, dedicated, and focused to prosecuting the criminal element of society, and that is what I promise to do. I will have no side businesses. I will have no political projects. I will have no conflicts of interest that can be avoided and are unnecessary. I'm not going to be in Jefferson City working with legislators. I'm not going to be on MSNBC. I'm going to be in Bloomfield looking to prosecute and keep you and your family safe. And trust me, there's room for improvement. My opponent, if you look at his recent advertisement, is telling you with a statistical chart, and I'm sure he'll say it here in just a minute, that crime in Dunklin County and Butler County is on the rise, and meanwhile here in Stoddard County, it's declining. Pay attention to the details, folks. He's using stats based on felony charges filed. Guess who controls felony charges filed? The prosecutor does, and it's a re-election year. You need to look at the arrest statistics from the Stoddard County Sheriff's Department, the Dexter Police Department, the Burney Police Department, the Missouri State Highway Patrol, Criminal Information Systems, third-party independent sources. Arrests are going up. It's a result of having a prosecuting attorney that doesn't work well with law enforcement and treats the job as part-time. Those are two areas of improvement that I can make. I'm going to run on justice for all. That's what we say in the Pledge of Allegiance. We're one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's time for equal justice in Stoddard County. No more deal cutting. No more favors. Every member of society is below the law. They're going to be treated equally. We put the Constitution and the laws of Missouri above everyone. I'm going to support the law enforcement, but I'm also going to hold them accountable when necessary, because nobody, including myself, including the sheriff, nobody's above the law. So, I want to respect the time limits. I'm ready to take any questions and look forward to closing remarks.
If you have a question, please stand to your feet so we can have one back here.
My name is Brandon. I asked you for an apology.
It will work if you hold the button long enough.
I'm here to ask you for an apology, Mr. Smith, for all the cases you must look at this thing. I would also like for you to take that case down. I think everybody in this room more than likely knows what I'm speaking about. Are you willing to give me that apology so I can pass it on to my daughter and be a man and take responsibility for the trauma you caused and reopen the wounds that you reopened?
I certainly will apologize to your daughter. Nobody should ever be a victim of a crime like that. Of course my heart goes out to her. Feel very sorry for her. Any reliving the crime was unintended, of course. It's a public record. It's of public interest. I'm very sorry to your daughter. I'm sorry to you. I'm sorry to your entire family. I won't take the post down. It's public record, but I am sorry. But I think I'm most sorry, sir, that you have a prosecuting attorney that allowed a first-degree child predator to go back into the county and put everyone else's children at risk, because predators, usually given the second opportunity to strike, will. Thank God that's not probably the case here. I'm sorry that you had such a weak prosecutor that would allow a plea bargain on a first-degree child molestation case where the defendant admitted her guilt, even when in the interview with the police officer, admitted the guilt and was allowed to do probation. What do I mean when I say justice for all? I mean not justice for some, I mean justice for all. And I understand that you can't try every case. I understand that sometimes there are plea bargains. I'm a defense attorney. I know how it works. In this case, it was egregious. It was unthinkable. And my opponent has used mugshots since day one of the campaign with 30 people, making every one of those victims relive the crime. And I bring up one case with a blurred face and a last name, no details about the child, no details about the case, and you want an apology from me saying that I'm sorry for publicizing and politicizing the case, and you guys are sponsoring, he's putting money behind a video, bringing more attention to it. You're asking a question here, bringing more attention to it. If you don't want her to have to relive it, quit talking about it. It's public interest, it's a public record. No, we won't. Any more questions?
Sorry, can you tell me?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Sawyer?
Yes, sir.
You're elected prosecutor. Will a convicted in fact on a felon?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear your sentence. I'm sorry.
You had a felon in front of you being charged for felonies, multiple felonies. Would the color of an individual be the deciding factor on whether you would prosecute him or not?
Absolutely not.
All right. Second question. Would his bank account be a contributing factor whether you would prosecute him or not?
No, sir. Equal justice, justice for all. Steve, did you have one?
Yes.
Can you explain exactly how you would work with the blue and also the significance of the multiple police agencies that are backing you and also some county officials?
Yes. Working with law enforcement, as I've talked about a little bit, is super important for the chief law enforcement officer, which is the prosecuting attorney. And I think the fact that the long list of endorsements lines up in favor of my candidacy, it does speak volumes. You know, when somebody calls me in the middle of the night needing to talk about a search warrant or any kind of other situation they may encounter as a law enforcement officer, I'm going to answer the phone. I'm going to be ready to give advice. I'm going to be on standby as a full-time prosecuting attorney. I'm going to back up our law enforcement inside and outside of the courtroom. I'm not going to just show up with the major case squad during an election year, be there every year. I'm going to be 100% behind the blue. I'll hold them accountable. I'm not going to be a rubber stamp for them. You know, that's not my job. Another important part of prosecuting attorney is that you are the county's attorney. You're the county counselor. There are many elected and previous elected county officials supporting me because we have brokenness in Bloomfield as a result of divisive politics and political shenanigans and not focusing on the job. I'm going to be a good county counselor. I'm not going to send our sheriff out on a raid when a law is premature. We can talk about experience matters, but even an attorney fresh out of law school would know not to prematurely enforce a statute that results in civil liability for the county in the tune of a couple $100,000 or whatever it was. It was a lot of money that you had to pay. Okay, you know, could have been avoided and will be avoided going forward. Joe Watson, former retired county clerk, endorsing me. Steve, District 1 Commissioner, Danny Talkington, Presiding Commissioner, Carl Hefner, Stoddard County Sheriff, Josh Speakman, Stoddard County Tax Collector, Brent Stidham, Stoddard County Coroner, Kay Asbell, Stoddard County Recorder. Probably missing somebody. Ask them who they're supporting in this election. They'll tell you, and it's for a good cause. The city officials of Puxico, my opponent's hometown, the mayor of Puxico, the police chief of Puxico, the fire department in Puxico, the fire department in Bell City. The list goes on.
You can finish it in your sum up.
Thank you.
I'd like to take a moment before I start. I want to thank 4 people who have walked in the trenches of this job with me for the last 12 years. They've always been encouraging. They've always been my cheerleaders. They've always been sacrificing. And they always know just enough space to give me because they know what the realities of this job is. Jack, Chloe, Emma, and Jen, I love you. And thank you for believing in me. Thank you for your sacrifice of your time with me. Thank you for listening and learning and living with me a life that's bigger than ourselves. Thank you for learning with me that a life well lived is not about you. It's about others. Sacrificially loving your community over your own desires, over your own wishes, over your own dreams. 16 years ago, whenever I started my law career, I didn't see myself as the Stoddard County prosecutor. But I saw a need. Stoddard County hadn't won a jury trial in over 7 years, and I knew that we were at a breaking point. So 12 years ago, Jen, Emma, and I, we ran for a job that paid poorly, that was part-time but took over 60 hours a week to do. And it forced me to see and deal with on a daily basis the very worst in how human beings can treat one another. But that sacrifice was not in vain, guys. My observation was right. We were at a breaking point. Since that time, crime in our surrounding counties has went through the roof, while Stoddard County's crime has went down. Our surrounding counties are plagued by gang violence, while Stoddard County remains one of the safest counties in Missouri. There's not a single street that you cannot walk down in Stoddard County in the pitch of night and not feel safe. I've won over 50 jury trials. We've obtained guilty verdicts on 96% of the charges that we have submitted to those juries. There are countless numbers of bad people who have done terrible things to our friends and neighbors that will never take another step outside of prison. But yet there are still countless more that came from the margins of society that have been restored to life out of the chains of addiction by the gospel of Jesus Christ through our faith-based addiction recovery partnerships and because of sacrificial love leading them to the cross of Calvary. The office of prosecuting attorney is not a game. There is no net. There are no second chances. You are the last man on the line between rapists and child molesters walking free. You win, justice is done. You lose, whether it's for a technicality or some other mistake, double jeopardy attaches and you don't get another trial. And over the last 12 years, as you have went about your daily life, I have stood on the wall between these people and your family. This is a technical job. It requires someone who knows what they are doing being at the helm. You have to have the knowledge, the experience, and the skill set to perform the job or everything falls apart. You are the linchpin of the criminal justice system in this county. I'd like to say to everybody else that was on this stage, Sawyer included, thank you for signing up. Thank you for your willingness to make those sacrifices and your families to make those sacrifices. In an age of the nastiness that is social media, local public service can still be a noble endeavor if you live your life to be bigger than yourself, if you demand excellence of yourself and everyone around you, and if you live your life in service to others. As Philippians 2:3 tells us, do nothing from selfish ambition, but in humility count others more significant than yourself. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also the interests of others. Be happy to take anyone got a question.
Any questions?
Okay, it's been discussed that you want to put your top, and then you're currently the director of the Male Drug Rehabilitation Center.
Okay.
And most everyone in this room realizes that it takes a lot of inspections, licensing, permitting, Department of Natural Resources inspections, all of that has to be performed in order to
Sure.
Okay? Most government offices work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you talk about 60 hours when you're part-time, but the time you spent setting these two businesses up, and taking the calls that you had to take during the day, whether you were in your office or went to that business at the butcher shop, it took time away from prosecuting people that are in jail, and the taxpayers are paying the people that remain there until that's done. How do you explain all that time that was taken when you should have been performing your job as a full-time prosecuting attorney?
I have been doing my job as prosecuting attorney. You can look at the results that we've gotten. You can look at the case results, 50 jury trials. I have more jury trials than any other attorney in southeast Missouri. And I win 96% of them. That doesn't happen just by just showing up in court. I'm doing the job. My family is sacrificing. He's talking about search warrants. I can't tell you how many 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. search warrants that I have done repeatedly. I can't tell you how many family trips have been canceled when we were on the road because a call came in and we had to come back. I've done my job. I continue to do my job. Since when is it, I mean, we're Republican. I mean, I figure that everybody in here is Republicans. But since when is it un-Republican to reinvest in your community? We saw a need that this community had. We didn't have this service. And during the pandemic, when nobody else had any meat, this county had meat. And it's because of that lady right back there. Turn around and look at her. You want to say that I was down? No, okay. Yeah, so that lady right back there ran that meat shop. It's a family business. Just because we have a family business and my wife can't run it.
Is that the same lady that puts on Facebook what a great butcher and slaughterer you are?
I couldn't cut up a cow if my life depended on it. Okay, so I'd like to talk about the second thing that you talked about. You talked about our faith-based rehabs. We have a cycle, a generational addiction cycle in this community that has been going on since the 90s. And so people are arrested in a flop house. We spend a lot of money to dry them out in the jail. Then they they get out on probation. They go right back to the same flop house that they came out of. And so I saw a problem, and I saw a really, really good solution. These faith-based rehabilitation services have provided millions of dollars of services to Stoddard County to restore to life people who are now mothers and fathers to children, who are now sons and daughters that were once kicked out of their family. And with regard to your other thing about, and what Sawyer said about the ethics, what we're doing at Frontline Ministries is specifically authorized by Section 557.014 of the Prosecutor's Diversion Program. Not only is it specifically authorized by that statute, it's encouraged by the best practices of the National District Attorneys Association. It's encouraged by the best practices of the Missouri Association of Prosecuting Attorneys. The exact thing that we are doing is clearly set forth in statute. And so whoever's giving your legal advice about whether this is ethical or not, sounds like he doesn't know what he's talking about.
I'm telling you is, as the prosecutor, you are the director of that Rehab Center.
I'm a board member. I'm a board member. The director, whoa. The director's sitting right back there. That's the director. I'm a board member. He's on the Stars and Stripes board. Is that some kind of problem? I've never said anything about that.
Let me finish. As the prosecuting attorney, your decisions regarding drug addicts will be influenced by your membership and the fact that from that drug center, you will be sending people to your butcher shop like you do from the Jeremiah House and the people from the Edgar House. They will be working at the butcher shop like
I don't know if you noticed, but the meat shop's closed down.
I wonder why.
What? Because because she didn't want to do it anymore. She left. She wanted to go home to the kids.
Well, that's hard to believe in this.
Well, But yeah, to answer your question, yes, we have a prosecutor diversion program specifically authorized by Missouri statute. We follow that statute, and the prosecutor supervises under exactly what that statute, look it up, it's 557.014. So, how about the next question?
Well, we're out of time.
I'm out of time, okay.
But you have 3 minutes to sum up, Super Sergeant.
Okay, go ahead, Sergeant.
Everybody in this room knows what he has going on. He's got a lot of irons in the fire, and he's not a full-time prosecutor that you're paying for. You know, that's the crux of all this, is that the law enforcement is crying out for a change. You're not getting what you're paying for. Power's being abused. We've got Miss Leanne Ryan here tonight, a mother of 3 children, a former prosecutor. I hate to say former, Leanne, you know, I'm really sorry, but phone calls are being made, emails are being sent, and jobs are being lost. And it's all wrong. We got to make sure Bloomfield doesn't turn into the Washington, D.C. swamp we know it to be. And you know, that's another part. In 40 years, Stoddard County, in 4 decades, you've had 2 prosecuting attorneys, 2. If you think like I do, it's good to make a change every once in a while, especially when we're talking about government. And that's why I'm running. It's rare is the opportunity to elect a new prosecuting attorney in Stoddard County. But I was listening when people asked me to. I saw the issues for myself, and I'm standing up, and I'm taking it on, and I'm doing it, and I've worked hard every day of this campaign. I think I've proven that, and I'm going to do that every day as your prosecutor. How many events have we had? How many communities and small towns and little establishments in Stoddard County have we been to? We've knocked thousands of doors. A really wise person told me at the outset, if you want it, Sawyer, you got to show them. I want to serve you. I want to be a good public servant. You know, I've got deep roots in Stoddard County. Some of you know I'm from a farm background, but 4 generations of my family are from right here in Stoddard County. We've got roots in Essex, Dudley, Puxico, Dexter. My wife, Lisa, and I are going to raise our children, our future family right here. I want to make sure it's the best place to call home that it can be. It's a great place, but there's always room for improvement, and we have to keep trying. This isn't out of selfish ambition. This is out of my desire to serve you. I had a grandfather on my mom's side that was a police officer, a criminal justice professor, a town alderman, a city judge. He had a huge impact on my life at a young age, instilled in me a passion not only for the law but for public service. And I really believe I can bring the positive change to Stoddard County that you're wanting, that you're looking for. We've got a good opportunity on August 2nd to stand up on justice for all, elect a new prosecutor, and move forward. Have you noticed, we're talking about crime being down even though it's not. Have you noticed the drug problem that he told you 12 years ago when he took office he was going to end the scourge of methamphetamine, and it's still ravaging our communities today. And maybe it's because we're doing what's good for the prosecutor, not what's good for our county. The conflict is going to end. The politics are going to end. The meat shop and the private business pursuits and entrepreneurial spirit of the prosecutor's office is going to cease. We're going to prosecute crime, and we're going to do it the best way I know how. Thank you. Get out and vote.
Absolutely no one can try your cases for you. Not the police, not anybody else. I've been a licensed attorney for 16 years. I have tried countless jury trials, and you've seen my record. I ran this race on my record. I have told you what I have done, not what somebody else has done in their career, but what I have done in my career. I have told you what I have done with the trust that you have placed in me over the last 12 years. I don't believe that you elevate yourself by attempting to tear other people down. I don't believe that you convince anyone by being the one who's yelling the loudest. Very, very early on in this job, I realized that you cannot be a good politician and a good prosecutor at the same time. This job simply will not allow for it. And I made the conscious decision to be a good prosecutor. I have lived out my convictions. by making the right decisions for the right reasons without influence or being controlled by others. I make people mad. I tell people no, and the chips can fall where they do. And that's how we get the results that we get. Life sentences on countless child molesters, murderers, and rapists. Regardless of your social status, everyone has been treated equally. Rich or poor, a somebody or a nobody, if you break the law, I have held you accountable, and I will continue to do that. Some people don't like an independent man they can't control. If that's what it takes to provide a safe county for my kids and yours, then so be it. In the words of the old Aaron Tippett song, we might have been better off or owned a bigger house if Daddy had done more giving in or a little more backing down. But we always had plenty, just living his advice. Whatever you do today, you'll have to sleep with tonight. You've got to stand for something, or you'll fall for anything. I am owned by no one. I am controlled by no one. I am intimidated by no one. I fight only for what is right and for you, the citizens of Stoddard County. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to another end of our political foray that we have every couple of years here in our county. I hope that you got to ask the question or hear the question that you wanted to hear. I hope that you got the answer that you wanted to hear. I want to thank you for coming out tonight. Stoddard County Farm Bureau thanks you for being here. Again, on the way out, shake hands with some of those Senate candidates out there. They need help. Have a great evening.